Good evening, Frank Rock, House of Orange Sports Channel, BaseVols live. Tennessee wraps up game one with an 8-4 victory over the old Vandy boys tonight. And pretty interesting game, a lot to talk about in this game. Before we get in that, though, you know the drill. Make sure you like, you share, you subscribe. If you like the content, you like what's going on, super chats are welcome on this channel as well. Always appreciative of those with super chats. Make sure your comment gets read. We'll highlight that on there. But appreciate you guys tuning in. Right now, we're up to about 10 already. Make sure you share this thing out, and we'll get some good discussion. We'll see how long this thing goes. But Tennessee 8-4 tonight. It's a game teams do tonight. Vanderbilt got to believing. They got to 4-3 in the sixth inning. And Tennessee did what good teams do. They come out, they ripped Vanderbilt's heart out. They stepped on their throats, and they did not allow them to breathe anymore the rest of the game tonight. Vanderbilt got a little bit of breathing tonight. Tennessee took care of that when they stepped on their throats and ended that thing. Vanderbilt squandered some opportunities. First inning, Tennessee got out 2-0. Christian Moore leads off with a home run. Dylan Dreiling, one of his 2-out RBIs in that first inning tonight, goes to 2-0. Vanderbilt had some opportunities. They had runners on second and third and could not get them in. And hats off to Stamos, ever how you pronounce it. I've heard it pronounced by I've been hearing it more lately, Stamos. But hats off to him for getting out of that. And I just thought it was a good job by the pitching tonight as well, getting out. I mean, Causey really had the one bad inning. Other than that, he was pretty solid. He really was. I'm going to highlight a couple of these. JL says, tears. Yeah, absolutely. Tennessee down 4-3. Amick leads off. Base hit to right field. And then Tears, a pretty impressive shot. Hit that opposite field over that big wall at Vanderbilt. Made it 5-4. And then what I loved in the inning, of course, Dylan Dreiling gets on, gets a triple. Hunter Ensley drives him in. Curley grounds out to third. Tears gets to second. And then Cannon Peebles. And we'll talk a little bit about that DH tonight. But Cannon Peebles comes in, pinch hits, and what was a revolving door at DH tonight, and a big 2-run home run for him. I was so happy to see that for him. It's got to be a confidence booster. And the thing I like with Cannon Peebles is his 2 home runs have come down the stretch. And what I liked as well is that matched Vanderbilt's guy who only had 1 home run tonight, who hit his home run off of Stamos earlier in the game. And that I had to pull up which guy it was for Vandy. Now, I think it was Humphrey, if I'm not mistaken. Let me go to the home stats on that. It was Humphrey, 2 for 4, 3 RBIs, had a home run. He's a guy hit for a decent average coming in, but not much pop. And he had 3 of the 4 RBIs tonight. I mean, hats off to him. He made Tennessee pay. Stamos left one up outside, and he drove it for a home run to right field. And then the next time, Causey hung I guess it was kind of a breaker, and the dude smoked one to left, smoked it in the hole between short and third, and then Vandy scored to go up 4-3. Vandy was feeling good at that point, but again, the old BaseVols stepped up. The offense come to life, and they closed it out. I'm kind of curious to see if they would stick with Causey, but they wrote him out, man. They've got a plan on Friday nights, and it's working. It's working with Stamos leading. Went 2 2/3 tonight, and then Causey finished it. Causey went 6 1/3 to end it. And what more can you ask for? Causey's probably done for the weekend, but everybody else is good to go. And with Stamos as well, let's see, he threw. Let me see how many pitches he threw tonight. 54. He could possibly be done for the weekend unless they just need him for some. I don't count on that they'll need him. And that's nothing against Vandy by any means, but I think they'll probably go Kirby Cannell, maybe Banky, possibly even Dylan Loy, that they keep using a little bit more about that as well. But to me, it was a good win. That's 8 in a row over Vanderbilt. Daddy Took son to the woodshed again tonight. It's kind of fun watching Daddy Orange take Sun Blue and Sun Black and Gold to the woodshed as much as they have in different sports this year. I stirred up some Kentucky fans earlier in the week when I had the video about Chaz Lanier. I know it was talking about the NBA Combine, but you talk about wanting to be great on defense. Where else would you go play if you come back to college? Play for the best defensive mind in the game, and Rick Barnes. It's not rocket science. Some Kentucky fans didn't like it too much, but oh well. Good water tonight. Let's see what else we got here. As we went through the game, of course, third inning, Dylan Driley, man, I've got to touch upon him. Is there anybody that we'd rather have up with 2 outs than Dylan Driley? Dude is so clutch. He is so clutch. He may have his strikeouts in a game, but when Tennessee needs a hit, he comes. How many times he come through? He come through Tuesday night against Queens when they were down. Come up with the 3-run bomb. Then had a 2-out hit in the first inning night. Had a 2-out hit in the third. Had that triple late in the game tonight. I don't know that there's a more clutch guy on the team than Dylan Driley, and that's saying a lot because there's some clutch guys on the team. Let me go through some of the comments here. Herb said, awesome game. Gave them hope and broke candy. The old Vandy boy, the old Candy Boys. I can't stand that. I can't stand the Vandy Boys moniker or whatever you want to call it. But it's fitting for them. Man, Peoples gets going. Look out. I'm going to talk about the DH spot here in just a few. That's been a hot topic for me. It was a hot topic Monday night. Talked about that a bit. I was a little off because I said they had a problem in right field and DH. They don't have a problem in right field. I'd forgot that the week before when I was looking, that's when Tears was out a couple games. They don't have a right field problem. Their outfield set. It's that DH spot. And Tony's trying some things. He went with Bargo tonight. Bargo 0 for 2 for strikeout. I don't get Brad Keylori. I don't get that one. I'm not seeing where this guy's all of a sudden getting weekend at bats. He's not even batting during the week. And his batting average was 217. It's down more because he struck out again tonight. And I'm not getting that one. I was happy to see Peebles get that shot, and Peebles made it count. I got to think tomorrow you're probably going to see Peebles in that DH spot. I think he just made a case for himself tonight. Does he run with it, or was this a case of, it was a good swing. It was a good swing. He got it out. It was when he waited on it, and he just stayed back and drove it. I think there's a case for Peebles to DH tomorrow night. I really do. And Bargo, each chance he's getting lately, he's striking out. He's not taking advantage of. I really think he's almost exhausted his options at DH with Bargo. Reese Chapman's not been doing it on weekend. Villeneuve, good Lord, ever since we've gotten into SEC play, I don't know that he's hardly made contact, or he definitely hasn't in weeks. Backus, they had the quick trigger with him last week. I think it boils down to a couple options. You either go with Peebles, who made a case tonight, or I've said it the other night, you put Antigua at short, Curley at third, and Amick at DH. I think that's your options on it. Or you go Antigua at short, you go Amick at third, and you go Curley possibly DH. But I don't really feel like Curley's been swinging that good of a bat lately. And I kind of wondered, some of you guys comment on this as well in that 6th inning. I thought a couple of those balls should have been kind of routine grounders, and Curley didn't. I don't know where he was playing, and I may be wrong on that one. Maybe they were hit hard and shouldn't, but I did kind of wonder about it. I'm not just going to sit here and say for sure, yeah, he should have had those balls, but they kind of seemed like they were more in a routine spot for the shortstop. So I don't know if they were playing too far in the hole or what the deal was there, but I thought it was kind of a strange one. Let's see here. Terry Reed, great game for the BaseVols. Yeah, anytime you beat Vanderbilt, it's great, especially if you go down to Nashville and beat them. That's 8 in a row for Tennessee over Vandy. And you got to like Vandy. I'm sorry, you got to like Tennessee's chances to win that series this weekend. Vandy they're fighting for their tournament lives right now. And they have course, Tennessee this weekend, and they go to Kentucky next weekend. They're going to have their work cut out for them. And I've got some thoughts on Tim Corbin and Vandy, and I've seen some comparisons, and I thought about this, and I talked about this some Monday night. Not necessarily this comparison that I'm going to have when I get to it, but I think it's an interesting one. And a couple coaches in different sports who were really good, and all of a sudden NIL and stuff's come in, they're not looking so good. Want to look at Cunningham. So his ERA 4.31. I thought he had pretty good stuff, good live fastball. Tennessee did get to one home run off him with Christian Moore. He did have 10 strikeouts. Tennessee had 11 strikeouts tonight. Vandy did strike out 12 times, though. So looking at Tennessee's lineup here tonight. Let me see where we're at here. Let's see, Steve, we're number one, man. It feels great to say. I know it's potentially short-lived. Heck, I love it. I really think they go they win the series, they'll maintain their number one seed and then, or number one ranking. And then you have South Carolina coming in. And last I was looking, man, Georgia is wiping the floor with South Carolina this weekend. Let's see what it is now. South Carolina, it's called 10-5. That's at South Carolina. Georgia's playing some good baseball right now. And, if I look back on Tennessee's win, I'm kind of going a little off topic here, and I'll get back to the game, but I'm looking at Tennessee's wins this year. And what I feel is their best wins. That second game of the Georgia series, it's not – I think Georgia's a pretty dang good team. They can hit, and their pitching's getting better, I believe, as well. Not great, but it's getting better. But their hitting is going to give them a chance every night. That second game against Georgia, when Georgia run-ruled Tennessee on Friday night, they started thumping them again on Saturday, and then Tennessee come back and won, 16-11. For a team who got thumped Friday, was getting thumped on Saturday, and then they come back and end up winning that one, 16-11? I thought that was a very impressive victory. I really did. I thought it was possibly – I'm not saying that was the best team they've beaten or anything like that, but just based on the circumstances of that game, how that weekend had gone up to that point, I thought that was a pretty impressive win on that one. I really did. The Kentucky series was a good one, but that second game of the Georgia series, because if Georgia would have possibly run-ruled Tennessee again, or if they would have won them in a blowout, who knows what would have happened on Sunday, but you got on Sunday, you had Xander Sechrist and Nate Snead shut Georgia down, 7-0. That's pretty impressive because Georgia has, again, one of the best offenses in all college baseball. All-time single-season home run hitter, and that was pretty big. That was pretty big, and who knows what would have happened with that season had they not come back and won that game. Now, just my opinion. Okay, doesn't mean I'm right, doesn't mean I'm wrong. Let's see here. This is it. Sent me the same message. He said playing too close to second. I thought he was playing too close to third, maybe, on it. So that's interesting. All right. So we kind of thought the same things. I thought Curley was maybe too close to third on that one. So maybe he's right. I still thought the ball was in a spot to where two of them where they should have been fielded. But again, I'm not saying he made a wrong play. I'm not saying maybe it's just the case Vandy smoked it through the hole and he just didn't have time to get there because Curley is a heck of a shortstop. So by no means am I saying, I wouldn't say he should have had. I just kind of had questions on it. Yeah, this was one I was going to get to here in just a few minutes. Tim Dewberry says Florida's coach blew it Kentucky game, left pitcher in too long, 2 walks, and he had a left-handed ready in the bullpen, but the left to right-handed guy in the face of lefty. It was horrible. I looked at that score and saw Kentucky won 12-11 in 10 innings, and their last 3 guys all gave up 3 runs each on that. And went back to that box score. Let me pull that up here where I had it. So Florida was up after 4 innings, 5-1. Kentucky scored 2 in the 5th. It was 5-3. Florida was up 6-3 in the 7th. Kentucky answered with 3. to tie it 6-6. Florida got 2, 8-6. Kentucky come back in, got 3. And then Florida scored 1 in the 9th to tie it. Kentucky got 3 in the 10th. Florida got 2 in the 10th. So 12-11 on that one. But yeah, Tennessee's still 1 game back tonight of Kentucky. And, we'll see. It may come. It's very possible it's going to come down to that last weekend, possibly even that last day. We've seen Tennessee with that before, come down to the last day. I think it was, 2021. I'm trying to think here. Yeah, it was 2021 because I was at the final game when at Columbia, South Carolina, they had Tidwell pitched that day, and then Sean Hunley closed it out. South Carolina had the bases loaded. Sean Hunley struck the dude out. I was standing out in right field. South Carolina fans, seen a few hats hit the guardrail and stuff, and need to say old Frank Rock was the guy standing there pumping his fist on that one. But found out that night, I think Kentucky come back and beat Vanderbilt that night. So yeah, it could come down to the last one, and Tennessee won that game and won the East that season. But I feel pretty confident saying it will come down to next weekend without a doubt. And Kentucky's better than Florida. Florida, man, they have squandered. I don't know what the deal is down there this year. They were top 5 coming into the season, and or top 10 at worst. And them and Vanderbilt both top 10 coming in, and they're both going to struggle to get into the tournament. I really almost thinking, barring that both teams, I'm not sure who Florida has next weekend. It may be Georgia, possibly. But let's just see who Florida has, just out of curiosity. Florida and Vandy may both go into that SEC tournament needing a lot of help. Or not only needing a lot of help, needing to win some games. Yep, they're at Georgia. That is no easy feat for Florida next weekend. It's not the way, especially if you're needing games like they did tonight. That was one that they could not afford to blow, and they did. That team needs to win 2 this weekend, and they need to win some next weekend, I think, to get in. Now, they may let them in anyway, but they've had a lot of midweek losses this year, too. Let's see here. Aaron said they keep the number 1 ranking with the series win. Yep, I agree with that. I'm okay with close games because clutch plays down the stretch will put ice in their veins when it's playoff time. I totally agree on that. Close games are not a bad thing. Close games in midweek are not a bad thing. Make no mistake about it. I mean, you think back, a couple years ago, Wright State, game 1. Wright State was not a 4 seed. They were better than a 4 seed. But you're going to play those type of midweek teams when you get to the first round of the regionals. And you're going to have to win close games against them some, just the same as you are, a Vanderbilt or a Florida or somebody like that. Yeah, it is what it is. I don't even have a problem with the midweek games being close. Yeah, was Queens, should that one have been close? You wouldn't think so on paper. But again, you look at midweek, I just don't get that worked up about a close midweek game or even a loss. They happen. They happen around college baseball. Some of your best teams have lost midweek games this year. It's just the nature of the beast. It's a great thing about it. Really is. 5-6 hole wide open. Yep. Totally agree with that one. Totally agree with that. Okay, so I don't know. They play, if you noticed, I think it was it the 8th? I know still on lefty, there's still playing out in shallow right field because he had to run in, field it, and throw the guy out at first. So they have some interesting alignments. It's an aggressive philosophy, but it's also, I don't know if I'd say analytics based, but it is more, they play shifts, they play positioning a lot. I've seen it in person. And you guys that have been to a game in person, I haven't been this year. But when I was living up near Columbia, I would go when they would come to town up there. They put on some interesting shifts and stuff. But, one thing about it, too, it's like Stamos gave up the home run to Humphrey. I'm not that. I'd say I'm pretty sure it was Vanderbilt's announcers. Now, I thought they were pretty neutral tonight. I thought they were decent announcers in the game. Tennessee had some issues at home plate with the umpire tonight. I don't know. There's some pit. I thought it was a little bit of inconsistency because in that sixth inning, they thought they had strike three to end the inning. And I really didn't have a problem with the call. I thought it was a little out, but due to the inconsistency of the umpire, I could see why they wanted that call. And I don't know. Some of them, I don't know. I really did not have a problem with some of the calls that Tennessee had problems with, but there were others that maybe so. I thought there was the pitch to, and the Vanderbilt color guy said 2 times I saw the same pitch. He said, that was a pretty good pitch. It was the Stamos pitch to Humphrey that went for the home run. And then Billy Amick in the top of the 7th with, I think, 2 strikes. It was pretty much that same pitch, and he lined it to right field. That's not a good pitch. It's a little bit above belt high, and it's almost right in a wheelhouse. I would like to see that pitch more top of the letters than I would bottom of the letters. I think that's just, you think back, again, 2 years ago, Tennessee versus Notre Dame, Chase Burns cruising along. What that damn guy for Notre Dame had 1 or 2 home runs. He threw that pitch that was in that area, and the Notre Dame guy pushed it to right for a home run. Changed the game, and Notre Dame eliminated Tennessee in that game. Speaking of Burns, I was curious tonight. Clemson lost to Wake Forest, and I was curious if Burns was still the Saturday or Friday night guy. And I know a lot of you probably don't care, but I'm kind of interested in what he does, just out of curiosity. He went 7 innings with 16 strikeouts tonight. I just wish there was a way. I still just wish there was a way they could have made that work in between Burns and the coaching staff. I would love to know the true story of what happened, if it was just simple as him going to the bullpen, what conversations were had or what happened. Just feel like there's somehow, some way that shouldn't have ever happened. But anyhow, getting back to that specific pitch, that outside pitch that's about bottom of the letters, I think it's a dangerous pitch. I really do. And I would rather see that pitch inside than I would outside. I've just seen it too many times where that pitch is getting taken to right field, a line drive or home runs numerous times. Guys especially who can go the opposite direction with it. Let's see, we've got Moonshine here, says hit that like button. Absolutely. Make sure you hit the like. You share if you like the content. If you've not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Kind of a little bit of a cold spell last few days. I'm telling you, man, there has not been much basketball news. I've tried to stay on that as much as possible. There just is Lady Vols. There's been nothing. I've literally seen nothing. I think I could take a little bit from Kim Caldwell and the Big Orange Caravan and do some stuff. I may record that tomorrow. On the men's front, there has been absolutely really nothing. They're basically wait and see mode on Chaz Lanier, and Kentucky's feeling good about it. I still feel when it's all said and done, Tennessee will end up with Chaz Lanier, because there was a Maryland writer that I saw this week said he thought initially they said Tennessee, Maryland. Now Kentucky's in it. Kentucky. He's even said some think Kentucky lead, but he said it's been said that Lanier has been working out with a Tennessee assistant coach. So I don't know which one that is. I think that's pretty interesting, and also saw he has a lot of connections to former players with Tennessee program as well. I think all these connections that he has to the Tennessee program, if he comes back to college, are going to pay off for him. And I think Kentucky's going to be a little heartbroken by it. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It is what it is. But it is college basketball. I'm sure Kentucky's going to try to lure him with the NIL. If you're Tennessee and you're saying that this one player is what's going to make us a bona fide national title contender, you better match Kentucky on it if it's going to come down to it. I don't know that it does. But if I'm Chaz Lanier and I'm looking at where I'm going to have the best shot at a national championship in my last year if I come back, if I need to improve my defense, it's a no-brainer, man. Rick Barnes or Mark Pope. It's not even a contest. It's not even a debate. It is what it is. Let's see. Let's shift back to baseball. Quit going on these tangents here. We're at about 26 minutes, got 41 of you. Thank you guys for tuning in with me. Trying to see the game tomorrow. Let me see what time that one is. I can't remember if tomorrow is early or late. I know Sunday is 2 o'clock. I do know that one. I know the next two games are on your main ESPN, either ESPN2 or SEC network. So that'll be good. So you'll get their actual. Oh, Chris Burke, I think, is calling both games. No, I'm sorry. Both games are 3 o'clock, according to utsports.com. So hopefully I'll get to go live tomorrow. On that Sunday is going to be a little bit up in the air with Mother's Day and stuff going on. So I don't know if that one will happen, but definitely try to get tomorrow. 2 o'clock Nashville time. There you go. All right. Thank you. Yep. I thought I'd seen something about that. So 2 o'clock Central time, 3 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow. You'll have Drew Beam going for Tennessee. I'd have to look back. Let's see, with Vanderbilt. I know they had, of course, Cunningham tonight. Beam goes for Tennessee tomorrow. Of course, Seacrest will start Sunday, and then I would imagine he'll give way for Snead after that. Let's see. Here we go. Let's see. Drew Beam, Carter Holton for Vandy, 6-3, 4.88 ERA tomorrow. I'd seen some previews around that. I don't know. Some of the baseball stuff around kind of annoys me, honestly. Some of them, we can put every cute little name in the dugout or down the right field line or in the stands or whatever. A preview's a preview on it in so many ways. I saw, I think, a Vanderbilt writer, and he talked about Vandy's strength was pitching. If their strength's pitching, man, their ERA's high fours. That's not a strength. I don't care, what level it is. That is not a strength. And Tennessee, again, Cunningham, pretty good job for them. But once they went to that bullpen, Tennessee made them pay tonight as well. Let's see what else we got here. Vanderbilt has not announced a starter for Saturday. Or I'm sorry, for Sunday. Their main two got Cunningham had a 4.36 coming in. Holton a 4.88. Seacrest, who was, kind of a spot guy. Don't know how many innings he's going to go on Sunday. It could go anywhere from an inning to, possibly 6 innings, but his ERA is still better than either one of Vanderbilt's guys in 12 starts. So Tennessee's got a nice little thing going, I really believe, with Stamos. I'm just wondering what the shelf life on this is, though, with Stamos leading on Friday and then Causey. Causey's been really good. He had 2 tough outings in a row, but ever since they've gone to this opener with Stamos and then bringing Causey, and I think Causey's been really, really good. I'm trying to think. I know it was Georgia. The game Georgia lit them up. I think it was Ole Miss, was it not? Let me see here. Yeah, back-to-back Fridays where Tennessee got run ruled. Ole Miss. Wait a minute. No, Tennessee run ruled Ole Miss on Friday. It was Georgia. I know for sure Georgia on Friday. Because Georgia won 16-2. Maybe it was Auburn the next week when Auburn won 9-5. I think maybe that was it. Let me look the box score here on that one. That was it. Yeah. That was it. Because Causey went 1 1/3 and gave up 8 runs. All 8 of them were earned. That was it. It was Georgia and Auburn back to back. He had horrible outings, and his ERA is still like 4.20, but it really came based off of those 2 games. Other than that, he's been pretty good most of the year. Trying to think, I want to see how many he gave up in that Georgia game. Cause I know he started that one. But he was 5-0 coming into that game. Let's see, that game he went 2 2/3, 7 hits, 8 runs, 7 of them were earned. So yeah, he had 2 starts in a row, giving up 8 runs, 3 2/3 innings, 16 runs over 2 starts. That's pretty rough. Pretty rough. That led to Tony changing it up. And you remember last year when the pitching was struggling, they changed it up. Went Andrew Lindsay Friday, Dolander Saturday, Beam Sunday, and it worked. I mean, Dolander was up and down last year. Lindsay was pretty good. I didn't think Lindsay was that good in the tournament, but he was serviceable. He was serviceable, and Beam was their best starting pitcher at the end of the year. Burns was their best overall guy at the end of the year in the tournament. Now, the last series I saw him get lit up at South Carolina, but they have a pretty good thing going. We've talked about this bullpen, and let's see, Laura, so what it is on that for me, what I do, I set it later because, and that probably is confusing on it. I don't want to set it too early with the game in it. I probably needed to set it a little earlier on it tonight. But what happens is there was, I can't remember which game it was. I had a live feed set and I had to keep setting the time back because the game kept going on it. So I try to mainly set it late enough to where I won't overrun and then I can start it early. That's kind of what it is. I wish I could kind of figure out. Probably need to make it a little closer to time, honestly. I set it up a little bit late and just went with that time just to be safe with it. So that was, I probably should have set it for 10 o'clock, to be honest with you. But thank you for bringing that up because I do need to probably get that closer to the time tomorrow on it. But again, thank you for that. Let me know and kind of remind me of that. I think with Tennessee's pitching staff, again, we've talked about the bullpen and what they've done this year. I think right now, what they have going, Stamos leading, Causey coming in, and Causey's getting pretty deep into those games, if not finishing them like he did tonight. He only had the one bad inning tonight. Looking back, that pitching again for him tonight, Stamos 2 2/3, 2 hits, 1 run, 1 run. I thought it was big of him. He had 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. That first inning, Vandy got second and third, and he struck out 2 guys to end that inning, and he was fired up too. I really only think he made 2 bad pitches. One was to Vandy's number 2 guy. He hung one down the plate. Guy got a base hit on it. This was after the walk. And then the home run to Humphrey. I know the Vandy announced, he said, that's a pretty good pitch. I don't know. I don't like that pitch, that outside one with it. I really don't. But you've got Stamos and Causey going. And if you need it, you've possibly got an Aaron Combs. The way he's pitching right now, he's pitching lights out. This is the Aaron Combs that Vitello and staff counting on to start the season. I'm pretty sure he was going to be the closer, and then he struggled. Now, I mean, with the way Combs has been pitching, and then Nate Snead Sunday against Florida, in my opinion, was his best outing of the season. He was nasty. Most strikeouts in a game for him this year. I just thought he had it going on. If you get those 2 guys on at the end of a game, I don't think you can go wrong with it. At their best, that's interesting. Me and a buddy of mine had a debate on this. He said Combs, at their best, I don't know that I disagree on that based on what they've done this year. I might possibly go Snead, but I don't know. The way Combs has been going, I would have a hard time not going him. And I liked it. Vitello went to him Tuesday night to close that one. Kirby come in, had a little bit of a struggle, and then he brought Combs in against Queen's best hitters, and Combs took care of business and got the save. You have that. You have Beam on Saturday or in game 2. If you're an opposing team, if you're going to get to Beam, you have to get to him early. If you get to him early in that game, you can put him out of the game. You can get to that bullpen early. But if you get a couple runs off of him, the deeper Beam goes, I feel like the better he gets. A lot of times, I feel like I said, when you're going to get him, you better get him early because when he settles in, he's hard to get. You get Beam to that 6th, 7th, possibly even deeper in that game, that shortens up your bullpen. So you can go. You don't need much out of Combs or Snead, or I know they go Cannell some. I think depending on the matchup, you go Cannell. If it's as in terms of needing that closer, I like Combs and Snead back there. Innings eater, Cannell can come in and do that. He's done numerous times this year, and sometimes he takes a little bit of a beating. But like up at Kentucky, I mean, they got him out late and turned it over to Combs to finish it. But Tony Vitello talked about how he was very happy with how Cannell was able to eat up innings that night as well. You get to Sunday with Sechrist. If you can get, I think ideally 3 or 4 innings out of him, you turn it over to Snead. For the most part, Snead's been pretty good. He's had a couple outings. Like anybody, it's baseball. You're going to have those outings. Every pitcher on this staff has had those outings this year that I can think of where maybe things didn't go the best. But for the most part, that combo has worked pretty well. I think Tennessee looks back on, especially that Alabama game. If you would have went to somebody else, could you possibly salvage that game? And, I get there were trust issues at the time as well. Let's see here. Devin Arnold, what's up, man? Thanks for tuning in. Pitching did enough to win this game for sure. Love the 1-2 punch. These two guys on Fridays. It's working, man. It is. They've got it going with Friday and Sunday, or Thursday and Saturday, which it is. Games 1 and 3 right now. I'm curious to see how it will translate to the postseason, especially if they have to go 4 games, possibly in definitely the regionals. At best case, you're going 3 games in the regional. Best case, you've got your normal rotation going. Worst case, you could go, 4 or 5 games on that. I'm trying to think here. Is it 4 or 5 that you could possibly go? Because if you lost the first one, you play the loser's bracket. You'll have to possibly. It's possibly 5 games that you would have to go on that one, because last year at Clemson, they got Charlotte. I think Charlotte was on their 4th game when they got them. Charlotte had played 1 more. So worst case, if you were to lose your first game and you come back through that regional to win it, you'd have to go 5 games. So if they got to a 4th and or 5th game, or it couldn't be and or, if they got to a 4th and 5th game, then I would be curious to see how they went with that pitching. It could get a little interesting, but especially with the starters, because especially in a short weekend as well. Now you get to the super regional. If you get there, you're going a max of 3 games on it, so they can manage that. You get to the College World Series, it could get a little interesting as well. The deeper you go, I mean, you think back last year, LSU only threw Skeens once, and or did he throw? I know he threw against Tennessee. Maybe he did throw twice in that one, because that College World Series goes for a bit. So maybe he did throw twice on that one. But anyhow, if you're Tennessee, best case, you win it in 3. You win your regional in 3. You move on to the super regional. Worst case, absolute worst case, is you lose, say, your first game or something, you have to go 5 games on it. That's your worst case. I don't know what they do in that scenario. So I've talked a lot about pitching tonight as well. So, basically to sum that up, I like what they've got going with their 2 days of openers. You basically have an extended starter in Causey. You basically have one in Snead. Now you have Combs in, who's just filthy right now. You have Cannell, who can eat up innings and do good things. You have Loy, who's starting to get more time. You have Banky, who they're pitch a little bit on the weekends as well. I'd still like to see some other guys step up, but like a Marcus Phillips, they started him the other night, and he was, for lack of a better term, he was awful the other night. He was awful, and he's just not going to earn weekend time with that. And I know in the post or preseason back in the fall, Tony Vitello, some of his interviews, they asked him he asked the players, said, who was the, I guess, most dangerous, who would you rather not face? And he said it was pretty much all of them said Marcus Phillips. So it's not a matter of Phillips has the stuff, it's his control. I mean, he come out with three walks and a hit by pitch the other night. He's got to fix that. And that's been a problem with some of those guys that more or less pitch midweek has been their control issues. I've been happier with what I've seen out of them recently. Even that Lipscomb game, I mean, they made Lipscomb hit, and Lipscomb made them pay, but they only had like 2 walks in that game. But they're getting there with pitching. They are getting there. I still would like to see 1 or 2 guys step up, but I think we're getting close with Loy getting more time. He pitched pretty good the other night against Queens. And then, Banky, I think, has got some pretty good stuff also. So we'll kind of see where they go on that one. Hitting-wise tonight, so I want to talk about the lineup and where we're at. And I talked a little bit about the DH earlier, and we'll go into that one again. But Christian Moore, again, I've been adamant about this from the get-go. There's a reason this dude's leading off. Starts off with the home run night and set the tone on it. He's there when it comes back around a lot of times. Not his best night. He went 1 for 5, but he got that home run RBI tonight. Blake Burke was 0 for 5. I'm hoping Burke is kind of getting his little bit of – he's been a little bit of struggle, but he's still hitting 360. I'm hoping he's getting it out of his system now opposed to later. I think he's been on a little bit slump, I would say. But, we'll see, getting it out now. Amick, 2 for 5 night. He had 2 Ks. They did late put Antigua in at short and moved Curley to third. So I still wonder at some point if they could possibly look at that. And it surprises me midweek. This is a couple things that kind of aggravate me was Charlie Taylor getting at bats last week, knowing he's not going to play on the weekend unless it's an emergency catching role. I get it while they do it, but I would think that DH role right now is not settled. I would like to see these guys who you're thinking about DH and get those midweek at bats, get those live at bats with it. I don't get a Taylor. I don't get a Bradkey Lowry getting a swing tonight. I'm just not seeing it. I was very happy again, like I said, to see Peebles with that home run. Get that swing. I think he has a lot of potential at that DH spot. And especially he's had a couple of home runs recently. Maybe his confidence is starting to go, or maybe it's starting to pick up right now. I think the other option is Antigua. Give Antigua some swings, see what he can do. And, worst case, you're right back where you are now. Best case, you could plug him in at short and Curley at third, and Amick can DH. I don't think there's a problem with that. Your outfield set, going back to the lineup tonight. Amick was 2 for 5, 2 RBIs. Tiers, 1 for 4, 2 RBIs, 2 runs. He had a home run. He had a walk, both of them. I mean, the walk, he ended up scoring in the first inning on the walk. And then in the 7th inning, he had that big 2-run home run that put Tennessee up 5-4. Dreiling, 3 for 4, 2 big 2-out hits that brought in RBIs. He had the triple also in the 7th. And then he scored on Hunter Ensley, 2 for 3. Hunter Ensley, man, is starting to swing a better bat. His average is up to 269. I think right now he has solidified himself. Earlier in the year, I was like, I don't know. I was kind of on the fence on that one. He has at this point. He stayed in the lineup with his defense for sure. But his offense, I mean, he's better than the other options right now and what he's doing. And I just feel like each weekend right now, his hits are big that he's getting. 2 for 3 tonight. He had that base hit that made it 6-4. And then he scored when Peebles hit the 2-run home run. Curley 0 for 4. His average is down to 302. I feel like he's been in a bit of a slump too. So I'd like to see him bust out of it. Bargo got the shot at DH 0 for 2, 2 strikeouts. His average is down to 278. It was up into 300s at one point. He's been in a slump. And I just don't know how Tony can keep going to him the ways, because it's not even a case of him putting it in play. I know he had a hit. I think it was against Queens the other night. So that is one thing. He did earn some at bats based on the other night. So I'm saying the guys aren't. I guess I'm wrong on that, because I think back now he had that single that kind of got them going and helped them in that Queens game. So that's probably where he got his at bats tonight. But some of these guys, doing it in the midweek versus doing it on the weekend is a totally different story. And that's what we've seen. We've seen a lot of guys do it midweek who have not done it on the weekend. And with Cannon Peebles doing it on the weekend tonight, that could be a big one for Tennessee. That could be a big one. Bargo was 0 for 2, 2 strikeouts. Laurie was 0 for 1 with the strikeout. And then Peebles, they pinch hit him, and he went 1 for 1 with that 2-run home run to right field, which was huge. 8-4, some insurance. Cal Stark 0 for 3, 2 strikeouts and a walk tonight as well. I mean, you know what you're getting with Cal Stark. He and Peebles both are at 247 now, which I think is pretty interesting. So Stark's average went down a good bit tonight, because I know at one point in the game it was at like 262. So he and Peebles both at 247. I don't think there's any danger of Stark getting pulled out of the lineup, but I would not be surprised tomorrow if you see Peebles at DH. Been swinging a better bat for sure. I really think your options at DH moving forward. Your outfield set with Dreiling, with Inslee, with Tiers. That's a no-brainer. Your infield, Burke and Moore, they're not going anywhere at first and second. Your left side is where it could get interesting, depending on what they do. If they were to give Antigua a shot, I don't know at this point in the year they will. I would say your changes are more likely to happen at DH, but if they were to kind of tweak or kind of mess around, I could see Antigua short, Curley third, Amick DH. That's one option. The other option I see at this point with DH is Peebles. That's kind of where I'm at. I just don't. Maybe you give Chapman another shot at it. I just don't think Bargo's doing enough on the weekend. I think he's a good hitter. I just don't know what it is, because he was red hot earlier in the year. Not so much here recently. And, Chapman's done some good things too. I feel like both guys have been really similar, just not getting it done on the weekends. And, but beyond that, I mean, Villeneuve, he's just struggled so badly since we've gotten to conference play. I mean, that dude was red hot earlier in the year, and he has struggled badly. I don't think there's really any other options on it. I've heard A.J. Perry mentioned, but we've not seen him any. So I can't see him as a valid option with it. They gave Backus a little bit of PT, pulled him after one at bat last week. I just can't see him as an option either. So I'm really thinking at this point, it's Peebles may get that shot to run with this DH role to end the season. I think it's a possible, especially after tonight, because that is the one spot in the lineup that's been a pretty big weakness with it. I did not even hear the Vandy whistler all night long. Maybe I just didn't have the volume up enough and pay enough attention to it, but I do not remember hearing him tonight at all. So y'all can correct me if he was there whistling away, but he was definitely quiet late. Let's put it that way. Let's see. I'm not sure I got much more to go on here, really. I feel like I'll probably get repetitious. We got right at 40 of us, 50 minutes in. I think I'll probably go ahead and wrap this thing up. So, content coming. I think the plan tomorrow is going to try to be to go live right after the game 2. Sunday, probably not. I just don't know if that's going to be an option. May find some ways moving forward where if I'm out that I can do that. I'm still stuck on an old phone that's probably not capable of doing a live right now. I'd much rather do it with the laptop instead. But any basketball news breaks, I'll try to bring something on it. Like I said, there has really been nothing on that, and I'm going to really set down. I've got some ideas for football to put some things together to really just create some content and really start I really look forward to covering football because it'll give me. I've been able to cover baseball, been able to cover basketball, and I've enjoyed doing that. I really kind of want to show what that I can provide some pretty good coverage in football because there's not been a lot of it right now. So I've got some ideas that I'm kind of excited about, and I'll go with from there. I may get on that this week, especially with basketball news slowing down as much as it has right now. But thank you guys for tuning in with me tonight. I hope I'll see you tomorrow. The game's at 3:00, so I'm gonna try to set that live stream around that 6:30 to 7 mark to try to give enough time on that. I know it's kind of not the best time in the world that people like to get out and about at that time, but if you're sitting around the house or you're out, I hope you'll tune in with me. But I hope you guys have a great rest of the evening. My name's Frank Rock. This is the House of Orange Sports Channel. Last but most certainly not least, I didn't even have my banner going tonight. I'm really on it. Last but most certainly not least, though, go Vols.